Hey, welcome back to the Becoming Church podcast, where we discuss how the message and movement of Jesus is not about becoming Christians, but about becoming the church. I'm your host, Kristin Mockler-Young, and I have got Naeem Fazal with me today.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Yes, I'm back again by popular demand, I believe.
You are. Your wife called and asked for more episodes of you.
Yes, that's it.
No, today we're going to talk about the values of Mosaic.
Oh,
this podcast
okay.
is all about becoming church. It's not just for the people of Mosaic, but since that's who we are.
Yes.
That's where we're going to start.
Okay.
So let's talk about some values. What even are values?
Yeah. So when it comes to Mosaic, we've talked about mission in terms of, why do we exist? And vision, where are we going?
How do we do it?
And values are, what do we care about?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So because I think that values are those unwritten rules that you kind of, you and I face, see, experience. And they're those things that organizations, churches, schools, whatever context you go to, you experience them and they're not written anywhere.
Okay. But you feel them.
You feel them.
Okay.
You feel them. You go, okay, these people don't, they care about this. Or obviously they don't care about this. Like, have you ever gone to a really cool, really cool restaurant? Then you go to their restrooms and you go, okay, what in the world? They obviously don't care about the restrooms. You know what I'm saying? Yes. You're like, what? They don't care about this. Or you go to a particular grocery store or a particular store and you're like, okay, they've got the cheapest things in town. Yeah. Prices are great, but they don't care about customer service at all.
Okay. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And we know this. You go to churches, you walk in, you go, oh, hold up. They're all about that, but they don't care about this. Or they put a high value on blah, 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 okay, whatever. And so I think that every context has a value systems, things that people care about. And so churches will do as well. And so does Mosaic.
Okay.
And Mosaic, I like to have a fancy word for values of Mosaic, and that is ethos.
Oh, yes.
Ethos. Ethos is a Greek word that means it's culture.
Okay.
So basically, it is the things, the values that create an ethos, a culture of your church or culture of your organization or your family. So growing up, what your family cared about, right?
Yeah.
You guys did, and that created like a certain Mockler culture, right?
Yes. For like one of mine I can think of was respect. Even as an adult now to this day, if I see my friends' parents, I automatically have to call them Mr. and Mrs.
No way.
So yes, because that was very much it was a thing, a culture.
Was a cult. Yes. Yeah. So my wife is, Southern, grew up in the Southern world, I guess, whatever. Yeah. And so with our two kids, the whole like, yes, ma'am, and sir, was a thing. Like, are we going to teach our kids to call their grandparents sir and ma'am, and they're going to call me like, and Ash and I, sir and ma'am? And we decided not to. Yeah. And that was a big thing. Oh,
it's a huge thing down here culturally.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So what does that have to do with Mosaic? Well, we have these, we have an ethos at Mosaic, a culture at Mosaic, and it is established by some of the things that we value, things that we care about. And so, we can talk about those. Yeah.
Well, let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah. Okay. So I think the number one is this idea of the values of the world versus the values of Mosaic. So what I mean by that is, like, I think sometimes in Christian context, there's always like this culture wars, right? Don't be part of the world. Don't be like the world. And so there's always this culture wars.
Be in the world, but not of it.
Yeah. Right. So there's this whole church culture, and then there's there is the sacred, and then there's the secular, and we do not want the secular culture into the sacred, so it gets kind of tricky. The reason why this is important is that we have to understand that a lot of the issues and a lot of the things that we face in terms of trying to lead people into becoming the church is about understanding that we have to, number one, navigate popular culture. We have to navigate it.
Yeah.
Okay. We can't ignore it.
Right.
We have to navigate it. We are in it, not of it, but we're in it. And number two, we are intentionally creating culture as well as we're navigating it, as a church, as the church. We're creating a certain kind of culture. I mean, we're supposed to create heaven culture here on earth.
Yeah.
That's where we're all still here.
Yeah.
Right. That's where your kingdom come.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to build here.
It hasn't happened yet.
It hasn't happened yet. Okay. Because I think the church cares about the wrong things.
Yeah.
And because they care about the wrong things, you're creating a strange, weird culture here on earth.
Well, I think they're creating a segregated church culture. How can you bring people to Jesus if you never engage with anybody who doesn't already know Jesus?
Exactly.
We can't let the fear of pop culture keep us on our own little bubbles, because then we just stay in our own little bubbles.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Kind of not the point.
Yes. Yeah. And so we have to understand that our values help us, number one, navigate popular culture, but then also help us create the kingdom culture in a sense here. So we've got a couple. Okay. We have phrases, we have words, all those things.
I'd say we probably won't hit every single thing today. We'll just highlight a couple.
Yeah, we'll highlight. So let me give you 3, because 3 is a magic number.
3, sure.
Magic number, especially in the church world.
It's the Trinity.
It's the Trinity. Yes. Yeah, okay. So first word, I don't even know if I can say it correctly.
Come on, I believe in you.
Okay. It's called inclusivity.
Good.
Did I say it right?
Put it all together.
Inclusivity.
Yeah.
Yes. Said it. Nail that. Okay, what does that mean? That means that we have this phrase that's connected to this word, and that is, hey, we want to be a place that includes people. That means we got to be a place that is really hope for all. Now, we've said this before, but what does that mean? That means that we've got to make sure that we are not being this exclusive club, not being this exclusive group of people that we don't include people in. We are not a club by any means. So people as they are enough for us to go, hey, come on. If you're a part of humanity, come on. There's hope for all of us. Now, why is this so important? Because you and I, and people who are listening, have gone into organizations, or you've gone into churches, and you feel that it's not hope for all. You feel there's hope for some, and you are not part of that some.
Right. And sometimes you don't even know why.
You don't know. You're like, I don't fit.
Get the sense of, this is not my place. This is not my people.
Yeah. I'm going to do something wrong. What do we do here? What's wrong? I don't fit. And then you have people who walk into Mosaic, and they can be so different from each other, and they'll have the same experience. They'll walk in, they go, this feels like home.
Yeah.
Like, how can it be your home and this person's home? Because you people are so different.
Right. But
yet it feels like home. And so I think this idea of hope for all is this idea of creating home for a lot of people. It's a spiritual home for people. And it starts with caring intentionally and creating a culture of, what's the word? Inclusivity. Yes. Secondly, is this idea of acceptance.
Okay. This is a tricky one.
This is a tricky one, because automatically super spiritual people go, no. Hold on, can't accept. Acceptance is the first step to a relationship. There is no bypassing that thing. Okay. You go, well, if I accept them, okay, what does that even mean? Because does God accept you? Does God accept us?
Yeah.
Well, of course he does.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, maybe he doesn't. Well, see, if you say he doesn't accept, then basically what you're saying is God is waiting for you to become acceptable.
Oh, that's good.
So that means then the grace of God is out the window. God, so there is no, then that means favor of God or a audience with God requires me to become acceptable. Mm-hmm. We would never say that for God. Right. Then why do we say it for people?
Right. Why do we say it for the church, especially?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So we have to start with, okay, we've got to value being acceptance of people. Mm-hmm. And so we have to navigate that. Now, how do you do it? Because there's all kinds of craziness.
Yeah.
There's crazy people out there. Did you know that?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I think there are more crazy people in the States than there are in my country.
I would believe it.
Yeah. I don't know. But so how do you do it? Right.
Yeah.
Because the US, I joke about it, but the US is extremely diverse. So Pakistan, where I'm from, my parents are Pakistani. I mean, it's a very homogeneous population. Most people believe the same thing. Mm-hmm. It's an Islamic country. Mm-hmm. Most people are very, very, very similar. And so you can you're not going to find extremely different people. But in the US, oh yeah.
Yeah.
In the church in the US, oh yeah. Mm-hmm. So at Mosaic, we coined the term, which I think you coined the term.
I might have.
Okay. Which is what?
That we hold hands with people on both sides.
On both sides of everything.
Of all the things.
All the things. Right. So we've got people who are like, politically,
right and left.
Yeah. Theologically, worldview, ideology. I mean, just sociology. I mean, all the ologies.
All the ologies, all the big tickets. I mean, we'll just LGBTQ, like everything. Every possible issue that there is.
Right.
We have people on both sides.
On both sides.
And we also have people saying, why don't you just pick a side?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Why don't you just pick a side? Why don't you just take a stance?
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. I mean, I've had people who say to me, on one side, they're like, you know what, you're not strict, like you don't care about God's word.
Yeah. We don't hold to the truth.
You don't hold to the truth. We don't have, a character, blah, 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 blah. I can't believe you would even, talk like this. You don't take sins, seriously and all that. And then you got other people saying, oh my gosh, you guys are accepting, you guys should just come out of the closet, or things like that. Like what we're in the middle. We're in the middle. And I think what I think people don't understand is that holding hands is understanding that we have always have to be in the middle, because Jesus was always in the middle.
Yeah.
The way Jesus accepted his acceptance really was profound and real, because he accepted people on both sides.
Yeah.
Not just on one side.
Right.
That's when you know that your acceptance is actually deeper. Mm-hmm. And so we at Mosaic, we value acceptance.
Yeah.
And we hold hands on both sides. And we understand, because people are growing, people are evolving, people, have you ever changed your mind?
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, have you changed your mind on theology?
Yes.
Of course we have. Yeah. We've grown. And I think several years ago, we did this series called Sacred Sins. Mm-hmm. And I was just talking about how we have to hold people's sins as sacred.
Yeah.
And what that means is we have to hold people's brokenness as sacred. We have to hold people as sacred.
Right.
And so we have to we have to honor that human presence in people.
Yeah.
And we have to know that even though they are so extreme on this, there's a point that you still can hold their hand.
Yeah.
But people can let go of it.
Right.
And that doesn't mean we're going to go with them.
Right. Right.
And we're not going on that side either.
Right.
With them. We're being like Jesus.
Yeah.
In the middle of all of it.
Managing the tension.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of people probably don't know this, but for every email or phone call or conversation that we have with pick a topic, right? Pick a topic, pick any topic. Somebody's saying, hey, I want you to do this. I want you to be this. I want you to make this stance. We have the same email, phone call conversation with somebody on the other side. And we have somebody over on the right that says, I'm going to leave because you're not whatever enough.
Right.
And then we have somebody on the left, same topic, complete opposite side going, hey, I'm going to leave also because you're not whatever enough. Right. And it's like Jesus managed this tension in the middle.
Yeah.
And I think too, the word acceptance in the church especially gets really tricky. And a lot of people mistake it for condoning things. They mistake it for permission, where they're going, okay, well, if you say you accept these people, then you're giving them permission to do whatever. Yeah. And that's not what Jesus did. Yeah. He accepted people, but he also still challenged them. He still called them up. He still called them forward. And so that's really, acceptance is seeing people.
Right.
And making space for them to be as they are.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's connected to this idea of enough. Like, so acceptance is saying, hey, I accept you and you're enough. Right. And I think it's also us realizing as a church that we're enough. Like when people say, hey, you're not whatever enough. You're not strict enough. You're not loose enough. You're not whatever enough. You're not this enough. And at some point I'm like, I got to stop and go, you know what? We're enough. We're enough. And I think it breeds out of that. Once a church realizes that they're enough, they're secure in who they are, they can actually offer acceptance without other people opposing their enoughness or not enoughness on them. So
I think it's just like we talked about in the last episode of every person has a unique perspective. Every person is going to represent Jesus in their own way and reach specific people in their own way. Same idea.
Yeah.
Every church, if every church was the same,
oh gosh, yeah,
we'd reach only the one kind of people.
Yeah, right.
You know,
right.
So there are churches on this side and on that side of any given topic for people who are looking for that. But for people who are wanting to be in the middle and manage this tension and just kind of walk forward, holding hands with people, Mosaic is the place to do that.
Yeah. All right, lastly, I would say is relationships. We value relationships, being in relationship. And so that means like people over policies, you know, people always ask us, you know, well, I don't say they always ask us. Actually, you know, people are kind at Mosaic. Like we get emails, but rarely. Like I talk to other pastors and they go, oh my gosh, I got voice messages about people complaining. Our people don't complain.
No, they have questions.
Or we just ignore
more emails than you think, because I'm in that email inbox.
You're like, I just ignore them. No, we don't ignore them. We don't ignore them. But yeah, the relationships is the whole, like we talked about before, it's the sitting down versus standing on issues. And that's really important. It's understanding that, hey, we'll go the extra mile, and we need to go the extra mile when it comes to people. So there's not a one size fits all. You know what I realized in organizations and even churches, it is so easy to hide behind policies.
Oh yeah.
And policies basically say this: everybody's the same and we treat everybody the same. Well, God doesn't treat everybody the same.
Yeah.
I mean, he's loving to everybody, but he doesn't treat them the same. So like sometimes we do for one that we wish we could do for everyone.
Yeah.
We can't do it for everyone, but we can do it for the one.
Yeah.
So we'll do it.
Yeah.
Well, this, you know, there's no hard and fast rule on, okay, well, we always do this, but we'll make an exception for you because we can, because of who you are, your situation. Because again, we know who you are. We have a relationship with you.
Yeah.
And relationships always trumps rules.
Yeah.
I mean, even God will defy natural laws of physics just because he has a relationship with you, and he will do a miracle.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
He will violate his own laws just to supernaturally speak with you.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Policies are hard and fast. They're rigid. There's no flexibility. And valuing relationships and people honors the emotion.
Right.
Right. There's so much emotion in life, and we can't just go, yep, nope, this is how it is. When we see the humanity of people, we see the actual person and the grief and the loss, the celebration, or whatever it is that is part of that experience.
Right. Yeah. So true.
So we will, I'm sure, dig into values and more of this stuff in upcoming episodes. But thanks so much for listening today. We hope that this helps you to become the church out in your own world. Make sure that you subscribe so you know when the next episode is coming. I've got some special guests coming up.
Oh, yeah.
On the next few episodes. Yes. You don't want to miss it. So we will talk to you then.
All right, Zion. You know what? Okay, really quick though. Yeah. We got to figure out a way to like.
We got to do that again.
No, we have a good intro. I feel like our end is just like, okay, well then bye. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
So what do we do now?
So make one up.
Oh, okay. Well, okay then bye. That was it. See you guys.
Bye.